Welcome, coaches. Locker Room Podcast. Our second last episode actually of the year, Mark, of the club year. Obviously reviewing the semi-finals from last week. Dr. Crooks and Errigal and Cuala at Strandhill. And I believe you ventured to the Errigal game by you have a heart like a lion. By the you go to some amount of football. I don't know where you get the time, Mark, by, but you're at the game anyway. And I suppose from a neutral's perspective, Mark, an unbelievably entertaining game, had a bit of everything. I think there was a tweet went out. I can't remember. It was one of the journalists, I think, saying that if every football match was like this, then there wouldn't have to be any need for rule changes. And it makes you sort of wonder, on the rule changes, like was there much needed conversation for a different day, obviously, but it certainly was a fantastic game of football. And between Tony Brosnan and Burns and the two Canavans, like there was an exhibition of score taking, Mark, throughout the day.
Yeah, just first, we'll clear one thing up, just in case my wife's listening. It was a course first. I went to coaching. She, in her eyes, I was away at a course. She doesn't know there's a football match on. But
golf course.
Well, look, anyway, no, you're right. I've seen the tweet. Look, to be fair, when you look at that game, and the reason that game was so because I seen Pat O'Shea get a wee bit of grief about not playing a sweeper. It was so open, and to be fair, Errigal, they played open too, but instead of Errigal in a way to play open because it left the two Canavans 1v1, and even to be fair, it left Petey Hart 1v1. Petey is like the two Canavans getting serious credit, but look, a lot of balls supplied. The wee balls were coming from Petey Hart and Joe Gouge and them boys, but it was an absolutely brilliant.
Just on that, Dorney, just on that, like, we chatted about it. Myself and Big Ledger chatted about this, like, with Daniel on the show before in the past, like, and we were actually watching the game together on Saturday, and he was we're talking about the Canavans, like, between them 113, right? Between them 113 against Kilcoo. They I don't think that they score like a point right now.
That was it.
Now, I think Kilcoo, I don't look, correct me if I'm wrong here, but maybe teams in Ulster maybe just have a lot more. And I'm not saying that Crooks don't respect them. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is there's maybe just I could be okay. He'll be able to pick him up. And I just think the fear factor in Ulster surrounding those two boys, like there's a lot more probably maybe respect given to them where, look, we're going to have to suffocate the space in front of these boys because if you don't, like, they're going to take out. And listen, they proved on Saturday when you give these two boys space, like, and they will punish you really hard. Like, they're two phenomenal footballers.
I would say the two boys probably couldn't believe their luck. A Iron Club semi-final, and we were getting left 1v1s all over the pitch. And to be fair, look, I know Kilcoo done a serious job on them, but probably still lost the game. And maybe there was a bit of Crooks looking at that going, well, look, they stopped the two boys and they still lost it. Whereas if you go back even the Clonerne game, Dara was kept really quiet, but it was Rory Cavan that got them over the line in the semi-final. There's no doubt Errigal, them tough battles that came through really helped them. Now, Gavin White probably, I would say Dr. Crooks probably looking at it now going, maybe it was a mistake starting Gavin White and Darkham, because Gavin White is their man who breaks lanes, drives forward, but he was just getting absolutely destroyed by Dara. But I don't think, to be fair to Dara and Rory, whoever was marking him, the quality of the ball was that good. And you know yourself, when you're 1v1 and you're that defender, it's impossible to mark somewhere where there's a pile of space because they're side to side, they're in behind, they're cuts, but it's like you've seen the Rory Cavan pass.
I was just going to say, sorry, from a coaching perspective, sorry for cutting you off. Like, it was admirable. Like, when you're watching it through a coaching eye, you're probably watching it more from people are watching it from entertainment purposes. You're probably watching, looking at different things, looking at movement patterns, like their cut movements and their ability to be so elusive to an opponent. Like they're such two intelligent footballers. The way they create space for themselves, it's actually unbelievable. It's uncanny, like.
Yeah, but it's even the way they're in the same wavelength, and even the goal. Like, to be fair, when Dar scored the goal, I was at the far end of Thursday, and you didn't actually appreciate the pass at times because it was only when I was home and you seen the pass in, you went, Jesus, it was serious pass and a brilliant finish now. But to be fair, Crooks like Tony Bros and Mihal Bourne especially caused Eric got serious problems. Now, the only thing Crooks I would say with massive regret, in injury time, they got a foul. Gavin White got a free out. There's a lot of criticism about him. He should have worked the ball short, and he should have did this. But the one thing from watching Errigal, you have to give them serious credit. And the new game will actually suit them better. They are really good at pressing high. Every game they have played this year in Ulster and at Tyrone, even in Tyrone, the day they threw with Tyrone in the Tyrone Championship, they were under serious pressure. But it was a pressing high. Every game they played, they've been really good at pressing high. And to be fair to Gavin White, I know at the time, yes, it's easy. Look, if he gives a short ball, but you have a big lot of options. You know yourself. 30 seconds left in the game, 45 seconds. If there's no one on, what's the one thing you're telling the player? Put it as far away
Yeah,
from your goals
yeah,
as
yeah.
possible. And look, there was nothing else. He threw it as far away. But to be fair, look, they come up the field, that man again. And he
Peter
wasn't
Hogan
actually
starting.
Peter Oak. Peter Oak, he probably wasn't that. He wasn't having a great game for his own standards. But look, he come again and kicked a serious point. But just
And
for man-on-man
ironically,
football, it was brilliant.
if that was the new rules, it would have been the winner because it was
Yeah, 2 points.
it was the only 2-pointer of the game.
But right, you were look to be fair, you left that game and you're thinking, Jesus, that's some game. Do we really need the rule change? But to be fair, the reason it was a good game was because it was 1v1 battles all over the field now. I know we're going to talk.
Well,
Now, if you flip it and you watch the first half of Cuala and Sandhill,
yeah,
you're sitting going, well, there's the reason. You
yeah.
know, you need the, but the Errigal
Come
game
back,
was like,
come back to Errigal, Tony. Like I don't know if you remember this, but I remember you texting me away back in October. Me and you were involved in the club championship at that stage, and there was nothing on TV, and we're looking for a GA fix. And I think Errigal were playing Clonau,
yes,
and
on GA
there
go.
was no other game on that Sunday night. And I remember paying the £13 or whatever to own TV to watch it.
I thought you had a fire stick.
No. That's used by down in the morning by all the illegal stuff down there. But no, but no, I was laughing because I remember sitting in the kitchen watching it going by, and they were out, Donny. They were
They
dead in
were out
fact.
big,
Like,
and Cologne,
yes,
Cologne had a
yeah,
shot.
they
Cologne had a shot
had the
to
last
win the
chance.
game.
But
Yeah.
it goes to show you like how close. Like now, Clonau wouldn't have won the championship. There's no that they wouldn't have won
No.
the championship, but they could have knocked Errigal out. And now they're probably sitting. Clonau's probably sitting, going, Jesus, there's a team that we took to the brink, you know, in the first round. And that for me, going back to the point I was going to make, there's something special about knockout. Everything was on the line that night for Errigal in the first round of the Tyrone Championship.
Yeah.
Everything was on the line. Now they're in an All-Ireland final. They're looking back, and I just think to those games, like, you know, the Clonau game. I think to the what do you call it, the Donegal game. Who did they play in Donegal? Sorry,
They played St. Eunan's.
sorry, St.
St.
Eunan's.
Eunan's led them. St. Eunan's led them
Yeah,
a minute in the injury time.
yeah. You're thinking
In
of the
Oma.
Kilcoo game. You're thinking of the
But even the
Clanarn game.
Thrillic.
Yeah.
The
Like
final
those
there.
games, and like there's something about like Dorney, you know yourself as a team, like as like we have a lot of coaches in the forum, like, you know, it's very, very hard to install that into a team unless you have experience of actually grinding those wins out. And once you grind one or two of those wins out, you become accustomed to them then, you know, and you become more experienced. Like they never panicked. Even when they went a point down on Saturday, they never really panicked. Like, you know, they were
I think Errigal, if 8 game, I just was looking through 8 since Ulster, since the later stage of the Tyrone Championship, maybe 10 or 11, but in 11 of their games, 10 of them have been real battles.
Mm.
Maybe taking out Cargan, they were able to brush Cargan aside, but every game, and that, like when you come through them, and you just said like the experience, but even no panic. We've been here before, we know what we're doing, and it does build serious team spirit. And there's one thing, if you get some Errigal up, I would say like they're just so gritty. Like when you see like Cormac Quinn, Aidan McElroy,
Yeah.
they're just they just, you know. And look, I don't want to be disrespecting, but some of them wouldn't be the most talented footballers, but they die with their boots on. And then they have the boys up front who and even Joe Goose's goal, like you're sitting going, what a finish.
Joe Goose I thought he had a decent season with Tyrone last year, and he's obviously been a real driving force for them in the middle of the field. But like, you know, you look at her too as well, Dorney, like you need a bit of experience in the Ulster club, you need a bit of experience in club championships, like, and you know, the likes of Petey Hart's been around a long time, like Petey's early 30s now. Aidan McCrory's had a lot of miles in the clock as well. Aidan's a very experienced defender, and as you say, you know, they've obviously looked after their bodies too, because some of these lads are in their mid to late 30s, like, you know, some of these Errigal lads, and they've looked after themselves, but they've a wee sprinkling of everything. But then, Dorney, I suppose the stardust is the two boys, like, and I think obviously if you were to take either of them out of the team, you know, it'd be a massive void to fill for them, like, you know, massive void to fill.
Yeah, well, I was saying Malik O'Rourke was probably watching the two boys on Saturday evening and going, Jesus, I can't wait. Because it's just their understanding of each other, just the way they play off each other, they played each other's strengths. They just seem to have telepathic understanding.
Yeah,
Like Rory knows when Dar's going to cut the ball played over the top. He knows when he's coming
yeah,
short. The dink balls. It was just brilliant to watch. And to be fair,
yeah,
I don't think when you're 1v1 defensively, there's not a chance, not a hope. You haven't a hope
yeah.
of stopping.
I was a bit surprised, Mark. I don't know if you were, but I was a bit surprised leading into the game. The disrespect, maybe not the disrespect, but maybe the blasé nature of like our Crooks won't count, Errigal will win handy. And I was thinking, like, stop for a wee second here. Like the quality in that Crokes team, some of the footballers that have the experience, that have, like, you never write off a Kerry team at any level. And you're sort of looking at them and thinking, even the history and the tradition that Crokes have, like Errigal have no tradition of having to get that's their first ever All Ireland final they've got to. You know, Crokes have a wee bit more history and tradition behind them. Like, you're sort of, there's a wee bit of disrespect towards Crokes. Was there maybe, like, was there a wee bit of, was there a wee
Yeah,
bit of,
everybody. I did fancy Errigal before the game, and I didn't think it would be as tight. I thought it would be a great game because, as you say, and the one thing I would give him Crooks a big chance was probably because of Tony Broslin and Micheál
yeah,
Burns. Like
yeah,
Tony Broslin, he probably wasn't as good in open play, but they had Gavin White. I think if Crooks had to do it again, they would let Gavin White sit at 6, because I think I've seen a couple of games just on the GAA Go, and he played a couple of
yeah,
games in Munster, and he was good. He was a real driving force for them, launch pad. And I do think it took away from Crooks' game once they
yeah,
moved him back the back. But like, as you look at, as you said, it's a Kerry team. Dr. Crooks won All Ireland. He came out of Munster. No way was it going to be a walk in the park for
yeah,
them. And look, it probably put into their minds a wee bit, being written off. And you have to admit, like, after 64 minutes, they're leading by a point, and they
yeah,
probably just show, like, we talk about marginal gains. You're involved in coaching, like, and you need marginal gains sometimes, like a grain of rice. I always remember listening to Paddy say one, he says a grain of rice will tip the scales. 64 minutes, 20 seconds. There's 40 seconds left in the clock. Gavin White is a free out. That goes a Crooks, man.
yeah. It's game
It's
over.
game over. And it's that, it is, and you need to be a bit of luck, but it also it's that marginal gains everybody needs. And
Yeah,
that's how tight, that's how much that game was in the bat. And that probably will hurt Crooks, probably because it was a marginal gain. Like, it was a 20, they're 40 seconds away from the Ireland Club, and that will take a long time to get over. But look, Errigal, as I said,
I
that
know there was a lot
grittiness.
of there was probably a lot of criticism towards Brendan Cawley as well. I think Brendan's a great referee. Actually, I think he's a good referee. But
Yeah,
I thought the other night. Now Tony Brosnan got 8 scores, 7 of them were frees. I thought some of the frees that Crooks got were maybe a little less earned than what Errigal had. Maybe, just
I thought,
looking
now,
as
to
a
be
neutral.
fair,
Like,
I did think, I thought he kept Crooks in touch in the first half, especially a few times. And look, I'm going to go back to a thing a few years ago, even in Port I remember being at the Kilcoo played St Finbarr's game. St Finbarr's from Cork played Kilcoo, and he refereed that, and I thought he gave St Finbarr's a lot. That day, Kilcoo actually ended up beating them in extra time. But I think if Kilcoo hadn't have got out of if Kilcoo hadn't have won that game, I don't think Brenton Cawley might have got out of the field without being somebody coming to him. But that's a different day. But I did think he was very, very hard on Errigal, especially 4 or 5 times where it looked as if you're a coach, man, it was good tackling. They surrounded and he just seemed to give frees. But
did,
look, he's
did
up close
Crooks
to it. He's
did
only
Crooks
5 and 10 yards away from it. Maybe he's seen something.
yeah
And I
did
don't
Crooks
like criticising referees because I wouldn't do it for loving their money.
and especially with the new rules, it's going to get even harder. But did Crooks make a mistake, maybe putting Gavin White on the Canavan? Like, it really took away from his attacking
Yeah,
instinct.
massively. I thought it was a
You know,
massive mistake. Now, I know people were saying about Crooks should have played a sweeper and should have did this, but you know this as well. Crooks have never played a sweeper all year. And
yeah,
for them, maybe having 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it's very
yeah,
hard. And you also remember the mindset. If you're a Crooks player and Pat O'Shea comes in and tells us it's like we're playing a sweeper, all of a sudden, I think that tells the Crooks players there's a wee
yeah.
mindset. We're worried here. We're going away from our game. I think, yes, I know we're contradicting ourselves saying they were 1v1, but I think it did miss Gavin White. Gavin White, in my age, is one of the best attacking halfbacks in
Yeah.
Ireland.
Oh,
And
100%.
because he was being nullified, and it's not even, I don't mean this, but without being disrespectful, like Dark Cadden was taken into the fair. So it wasn't, they were losing everything. They were losing, he wasn't doing a job on Dara, plus they'd lost that drive coming from the half back line. But look, this, it's always easier after the game to say we had done this and we had done that. But I would say that's probably the one big thing, maybe without even getting into sweeper this here, it would be maybe letting Gavin stay in their place. But still, we talk 64 minutes, 20 seconds, did a free out, their point up, hold the ball, and they win the game.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? Look, Errigal will not complain at the end of the day. Now they're in the All Ireland final, their first ever All Ireland final, obviously. Enda McGinley, club man as well, taking him. Obviously special, Dorney, to be a club man, and a former player managing his club, to an All Ireland final. I'm sure that's a special moment for Enda as well.
Yeah, look, and I think if it going back 2 years ago, like when Glen got to their first All Ireland final and were beaten by Kilmacud, like Errigal had them on the ropes that year in the first round of Ulster
They
until
did.
they did.
They
So
did.
look, even though they came out through a battle, they just haven't come out of nowhere. They have serious quality. And look, to be fair, as we go back down to McGinley, like for a club man taking your own club to an Ireland final, it must be a really
He also
special.
made a very good point. Like they need to maximise this now because there's no guarantee they could be beaten in round one and
Especially
two
Tyrone, first
here,
round of Tyrone, and
you know,
you imagine a Tyrone team, Tyrone Championship made in a few weeks or months, whenever, and somebody drew again Errigal. Like it's just
yeah,
it's massive, and the Tyrone Championship, nobody's won it. I think it's Carrick Moore's the last team to win it back to back.
20 years ago, yeah,
Yeah, so it just shows. So they
22
have
years
to
ago.
maximise it because they never know when they
Yeah.
get back again.
Whereas when you're a Kilcoo, for example, and you've got such dominance in down, every year you're going to be in Ulster more or less, or there's other clubs as
Scottstown and
well.
that, yes,
Yeah,
there is.
you sort of know that you're going to be
You
back.
build up a serious experience too in
You do,
Ulster,
you do,
and
yeah.
that's why it probably is vital that
Yeah.
Errigal go on mad. But Culla's going to be in the same boat, you
Well,
know.
just get on to that, Mark. Onto the Cuala game. Obviously, the whole headline now will be the O'Callaghan's versus the Canavans. Obviously, Con's brother Niall has made a significant contribution to Cuala. Kicked 3 points from play on Saturday evening as well. It was a completely different type of game, as you say. Cuala probably the Dublin Championship. You probably have to play attritional because probably Crooks, to beat Crooks, you had to be attritional and you had to play a certain way. Strandhill probably went into the game, Mark, massive underdogs. They probably had reached the pinnacle of having remarkably won a Connacht Club Championship, which is fantastic, Dorney, for a Sligo club team to win a Connacht Club Championship. Having beaten, obviously Padraig Pearce's of Roscommon, who were a lot of people's tips to win the All Ireland. Having beaten St Bridget's. So Strandhill, hats off to them. Wonderful, wonderful season. But there probably was a wee bit of gulf in the two teams on Saturday evening, wasn't there?
Yeah, just when you're watching TV, probably look, and I don't. The first half was a hard watch. And it was the way Strandhill had set up. And to be fair to Culla, you'd say they were well propped on it. They were happy to hold the ball for 3 or 4 minutes, and they opened now the game now. To be fair, in the last 20 minutes, really come to life when Strandhill just sort of threw the shackles off. And maybe there will be a wee tinge of regret with them, maybe saying
Yeah.
maybe we should have went for it, because when they got it back to 2 points of momentum and
Yeah,
everything
got
now,
back to
more
10-8. They kicked 5 in a row. They got back to 10-8.
yeah, and if there's one thing I go look at, could they do it where it's a switch off? They switch off, or they seem like they'd St Mary's RD. You'd have thought dead and buried. The Nias even a wee bit dead, and they do seem to switch off for that 10 or 12, 15 minutes, and it does let. And there's one criticism you say, Culla, they never seem to have the game. They never, in my eyes, they never finish a team off when they nearly have a team on the ropes.
And it's a bit like Kilmacud, where we bit like that too. It was death by a thousand cuts. Like they never really hammered anybody. It was just methodical, wasn't it? It was slow. It was methodical.
Yeah,
And,
no,
and listen,
it probably in Culla's.
Maybe O'Callaghan's black card, Owen O'Callaghan's black card, only the Cuala cornerback. Maybe that actually give Cuala, that sort of probably have what we hold here. Look, we need to sit in, we need to be organised, and especially down to 14 men. And that maybe had an impact as well on how the last 10 minutes panned out as well,
Yeah, but you would say, watch, that there always was, bar that when they got back to two, you could see Culla under a wee bit of pressure, but you always felt Culla were just a wee bit, there was that bit of class, and probably the two
Yeah.
O'Callaghans up front, and even Mike Fitz, and the big midfielder, I think it was P.O. Bourne or something, and big boy Duffy. Like, they've serious athleticism, and they're good in the ball, and they were able to step it up a wee bit once Strandhill came back to them. But the one worry, if I was a Culla man, it would be, we're switching off for that 10 or 15 minutes when we get 4 and 5 in front, and then
Yeah.
if they're going to have to do anything this week, it's going to have to make sure
I
they give a
actually
60% or 60
I
minute
actually think
performance.
the dynamics of Cuala are very similar to Errigal in that you have your experienced defenders like Mick Fitz in his late 30s, like Aidan McCrory. You have the likes of Joe Aguz, they're big Paderborn in the middle of the field, strong, physical. Then you have the Stardust up front with the Callans. It's a very, very similar team dynamic, isn't it? Like when you look at the two teams, like, and it probably will be a very, very tight final. Very tight final.
Yeah, it'll be tight, and if Fagus and Croke Park, it'll be very open, because you can defend easier in a wee tight, or if you're in a New Bridge or a Port it is easier.
Well, Cuala have had a game there already, Mark. Two
Yeah,
games already.
against St
Two
Mary,
games.
and
Two.
that would be a
One. One.
big help. The St Mary's are
Massive.
there, and that would be a big help. But look, it is built up for a final. I know people are tipping it. Like, it is a final. You're just sitting going, I think it will be a serious good game of football, because one thing about Culla, they love to play football. Now, it'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see Errigal this year. The one thing that's impressed me with Errigal is their high press, really high press, and it's here.
Yeah.
Really, energy's happening, and it's good. But Croke Park high pressing in 60 minutes, 60 odd minutes in Croke Park. is different in high press than anywhere else. So look, it'll just be interesting to see how Errigal do that, because that's the one thing that has been evident in every championship game they played, is that high press.
Yeah, yeah. Just looking at the match as well, Dorney. There was a couple of goal chances that Cuala butchered as well. Particularly one early I think it was early in the second half, and that's been a trait for them as well. In the I think it was it the semi final they played. Cuala played. Was it the semi final of when they played Tullamore? Wasn't it the semi final in
Yeah,
Leinster?
yes,
And
but even
they
even
butchered
again,
four or
Naas.
five really good goal chances.
Yeah, but even again, Naas in the first round had a few chances, goal chances, and didn't
Mm,
take them. Even against St Mary's Ardee, and this is where I'm going back to my point. I think with Culla, you always have a chance
yeah,
because
yeah,
they never ever finish you off. And
yeah.
and is that where it's that switch off, or they're butchering and goal chance or what? Like even against St Mary's, yes, they got a brilliant stint against St Mary's Ardee. St Mary's came back, but before that, the 2 or 3 goal chances to really finish the game off and didn't. The fisted one over the bar. So I think Errigal was sitting thinking, well, look, even if Culla go 3 and 4 in front,
Yeah.
we still, in my eyes, Culla's the one team they just don't finish you off. They always give you a chance. You always have a chance against them.
One thing about them, Mark, and it's probably very identifiable. I think it's been noted in some of the post match interviews from the manager and certain players, is that the work that has gone on at development level in Cool over the last 10 years. They look like a very, very strong, physical, well conditioned side. That doesn't happen overnight, boss. Like there's a process there that takes time. It takes a lot of hard work, and I know from speaking to a couple of people involved in Dublin club football that they have put a real good structure in place. I think going back 10, 12 years ago, they've appointed an S&C man. They have a real good, probably well run club. Behind the scenes, there obviously a lot of these lads are playing hurling as well to a good level. Like they're a club going in the right direction, Mark, and it probably takes that. Like if you want to go to the highest level, you need to get your structures in place, particularly at underage level, don't you? Really?
Yeah, I remember I was managing Castlewell 6 years ago. Paul Curran was managed, and we actually played them in a challenge game. They were Division 2 in
Yeah.
Dublin then, but I remember telling the Paul, he says, well, they're a big hurling club. It's hurling first. It's amazing. Then they've won their hurling All Ireland, and now they seem to put their whole focus in. There's a bit of history for them to get after. I think St Finbarrs and Cork's the only team ever to win hurling and football. And
Okay.
if Culla could do this, Connacht would join that club, and Culla will join that as a hurling and football. So look, that's another big thing about it. But and even up to 3 years ago, I think they were still playing Division 2. I think this is Austin O'Malley's 3rd year with him. He
Right.
took
Okay.
them when they were in Division 3. So look,
Mm.
or sorry, in Division 2. So it's a serious progression. They've built up, as you said, structures all in place. And the thing I like about them, every one of them, and there's no disrespect there, Higgle, when I'm looking at Culla players, every one of them's very confident in the ball.
Mm.
Whereas I wouldn't say that about every Errigal player. Errigal have more gritty players, more at my age, a few warriors. Like Errigal have a few warriors, Cormac Quinn, them boys who will just die with their boots on. But in the big open space of Croke Park, I'm always a great believer in. If you have 14 or 15 boys who are really, really confident in the ball, that's another big difference. But like Culla, where they've come from in 3 and 4 years, is massive. But we talked about Errigal, Culla's sitting in the same place. We have to max out now. We have Sunday to max out, because next year we're back in the Dublin Championship. No doubt Kilmacud will be sitting
It's
waiting for them.
it's I think it's unfair as well, Mark, that the 7 day turnaround or the 8 day turnaround. I think it's very unfair that I think the final should have been pushed back 1 week. It wouldn't have done any harm to play that final on the Saturday, the first Saturday. Obviously, I know the National League starts, but come on, there's 2 teams there, obviously, that probably deserve the respect of that 13, 14 day break to give the bodies a rest. Because you know what? If you picked up a dead leg last Saturday, you could be out for an All Ireland final. It's grossly unfair.
Yeah,
Grossly unfair.
yeah, and it is unfair, and I think with this new tight schedule, and probably wouldn't have been a big lot of maybe if they had to put it the Saturday, it clashes with the Derry and Tyrone games, National League, so maybe that's something wasn't thinking. That's probably the new thing with the new schedule. If it is a bad wear or waterlogged pitches, it does put everything else into perspective. We are chasing our tails a wee bit because the calendar is that congested. But look, I no doubt come Sunday, Errigal and Culla will both be ready, and that's look the way sports science is, and it's everybody is well prepped. But as you said, if you do pick a hamstring or a dead leg, you are under pressure, and it would be a disaster for somebody missing a Lions Club final after having to come through what they come through.
It'd be shocking. It'd be shocking. Go on, call it there, Mark. What's your view then? Go on, call it there.
Right, on Saturday evening, if you'd asked me right after the Culla game, I'd have said Errigal. But the more I think about it, and I hope Errigal win. I'd love to see her. I've just a wee sneaky feeling Culla will beat them. I just think Croke Park. They played in Croke Park before. I look at. And yes, the two Canavans, Meg Fitz will obviously pick one of them up. Somebody else, I think Cuala will sit a wee bit more in, tuck in. I look the two O'Callaghan's up front. I'm just wondering, have Errigal got the men to Martin? I just like the look of Cuala. I've liked the look of them since watching them again. Naas, even again Kilmacud when they were under pressure. Every one of them's good in the ball. They're big and athletic. I just think Cuala by 1 or 2 points, but I really, really do hope Eric will win it. I'd like to see Enda McGinley. I'd like to see Peter Canavan's two sons win it, but I just have a funny feeling Cuala will beat them.
Yeah, and obviously the All Ireland Intermediate Club final that we were going to review, was called off at the weekend with tragic circumstances with the tragedy in the Crossmolina club, and we'd like to send our thoughts and prayers to Conor Loftus and everyone associated with the club. Look, Mark, listen, it's been an enjoyable year, boy. I've really enjoyed looking at the club stuff. I really have, boy. I think it's been the club championship for me has actually been a breath of fresh air, because I think that, obviously, in my opinion, I think there's too many games. I think at county level, there's probably too many games, particularly, when you go into the Sam Maguire, the Tailteann Cup, you're playing games. It's nearly harder to get eliminated than it is to qualify, obviously, at certain times. And I think that we're probably exposed to a lot of football, but the club championship is so refreshing because you're getting to see clubs playing, Mark, that you would never see playing. You're getting to see players playing like Peter Oak McCartan, for example. He's a household name now, and he probably wasn't a household name this time last year. And, he's associated now with those worldly points that he scored over the last couple of weeks. But it certainly has been a really, really good. Is there any moments throughout the year in the club championship, Mark, that you can sort of look back on and think, geez, that was a special moment, or anything in particular that stands out for you?
I'm just going to say, I'm actually the Cuala and Kilmacud game. I remember watching TNG just when Colin was sent off, and you just felt everything went again. Kilmacud's going to take over, and to be fair, Kilmacud that day went a point in front when Colin. They trailed the whole game, but then right in the last few minutes, they kicked on and went a point in front. And to be fair, I just thought that was a day Cuala decided, right, we've lost our star man. It doesn't matter. We're refusing to accept defeat. And they kept driving and driving, and eventually they got it to extra time and won the game. That's the one, just because there was no doubt 10 minutes left, Colin got the line, old momentum, and when Kilmacud kicked the front, went in front, there was no doubt everybody thought Kilmacud was going to win this. And to be fair, I just thought Cuala refused to be defeated. I thought that was one, and there's another one, and I was in Silly Park this day, the day Newbridge beat Glen.
Yeah.
I'd have to say I couldn't leave that because, to be fair, I've been up in Derry with Slotneil last couple of years, and Glen are a serious animal. And to be fair, and it just, I do think maybe Glen maybe took their eye off the ball, but that's taking nothing away. I just remember the pure emotion
Yeah.
of Newbridge people, and I was only down just watching, even in the last couple of minutes when Glen brought it back to a draw, and Newbridge not the field in the last kick and one, and just I was glad I was there just to see that raw emotion. And you don't see that's like, I even remember being managing Ballybay in the year we won the Monaghan Championship. It was brilliant, but I just seen the raw emotion of people, how much club mean, and you don't see that with a county team. Winning the line, yes.
Mark, is it to do with the fact, because you think back to the COVID year, and you think of Tip beating Cork, you think of Cork beating Kerry, you think of Cavan beating Donegal, and that was a knockout championship, and you sort of think back to yourself: do we need to go back? Like, our championship needs to be a championship. It needs to be a knockout championship. I think that the groups.
Well,
and
I
the
think you're going to
leagues,
find. I think you're going to find more clubs. I'm hearing rumours that Derry's going to go to a straight knockout.
no doubt, I've talked about it as well.
Yeah, so look, maybe that is the way forward in county, and look, maybe it is going back to. But I was saying county level, it probably has a lot to do with money. They probably make a bit of money out of gates, and look, it is good. The more, yes, sometimes I know from talking to some county players, more games they like because it's less training, but there has to maybe be a better structure around it. But there is, make no mistake, there's no doubt at the minute the best show in town is your club championship.
Yeah.
But they're the two standout moments for me. It would be them two.
Yeah, I really enjoy the Ulster Club Championship in particular, because it's so competitive, and like on any given day, anybody can beat anybody. Whereas if you were to line out tomorrow and Armagh were to play Antrim 100 times, Armagh would win 99, right? But if you put Clonard versus Corrigan could win maybe 4 or 5 out of 10, and that's the reality. Like, every club's got a chance, and
Well, the big thing is Strandhill and Porrick Pacers. When you look
yeah,
at who gave nobody gave Strandhill a chance. Everybody thought Porrick Pacers were going to go. And but you look at all the big teams that fell this year. Your
yeah,
Glen, your
yeah,
Kilmacud, the
Kilcoo,
big, every time somebody went, the big team fell, some other team was favoured. Even
yeah,
Errigal beating Kilcoo, every time a team fell, the next favourite fell the next week.
yeah,
So
and
it's a lot
Kilcoo
more even playing field. But the reason it's an
probably,
even playing field, and I think you've touched on it before, it's senior, intermediate, and junior with 3
yeah,
tiers, and every club championship should be intermediate, senior, junior. They're all in it. Like the Donegal junior champions won the semi final and penalties. Are now in the Iron
yeah,
final.
that's
And I
right.
know that Donegal junior team were lucky they were beat. The reason I know this here, we boy had done the S&C for Slotneil Iron Kiles, played against them, and they had beat them in the earlier
Mm,
championship, and then they came round and beat them in the semi final. So they were beat early on, but now they're sitting in an Iron final. But I think it is you have 12 or 13 teams or 16, and they're all at that even playing field. Now, I do eventually think county football is going to go to senior, intermediate, and junior, and maybe
yeah,
then go to knockout, or because there's more competitive games. Like, there's no doubt about it. The National League starting in 2 weeks. The National League is your best competition at county football because there's a
yeah,
lot of games are all uneven. Whereas we go in the championship, the Leinster Championship, and certain championships, like there's a load of mismatches.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we're not going to sort that. Me and you's not going to sort that out.
No, 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 definitely not. Well, here, listen, Mark, brilliant, brilliant insight as always. And sure, look, we'll be back next week with a review of the final.
Who are
And
you tapping, by the way, just in case I get it wrong? Just so.
oh, listen, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the Ulster man. I'm gonna go with Errigal. I just think that the amount of games they've won this year, it's such narrow margins, and I just think that there's, the open spaces at Crow Park. I think the two Canavans are gonna really enjoy that. I think they're gonna really enjoy that, and I'm gonna go with Errigal by the minimum. But listen, hopefully it'll be a good game, and it'll give us all something to look forward to. That's next Sunday in Crow Park, and the best wishes to both sides. But we'll be back next week, Mark. We'll take a look at it. We'll probably pick our sort of maybe our club team of the year, maybe, and give people a bit of discussion around that. But listen, look, thanks for the insights, and see you again. Good man.
Thank you.